right, welcome everyone to today's webinar on safety management and safety culture in the construction industry. My name is Jessica Bunting. I'm the host and tech support for this event. Before we get started, I'd just like to go over a few things. First, if you have any technical problems with the webinar or with the phone system, please contact me through the chat box or at jbunting@cpwr.com. If you just respond to any of the emails you got from WebEx regarding the event, those will go to my email address. If you're listening to the audio portion of the event through your computer and experience any lag or difficulty hearing the speakers, we recommend that you call in and use your phone instead, as it does not rely on internet bandwidth. The call-in information can be found on your event info tab to the left of the presentation tab on the webinar screen, or you can change the audio connection by clicking on the small telephone icon below the list of panelists. We will take some time at the end of the presentation to answer your questions. Since your phones and microphones are muted through the system, you can enter any question into the chat or Q&A boxes at any time, and I will read the questions aloud at the end. Finally, today's webinar will be recorded, so if you're interested in reviewing it or sharing the information with colleagues, I will make that available to everyone via email after the event. Our presenter today is Dr. Sue Dong, Director of CPWR's Data Center. The Data Center provides insight on construction safety and health through publications and presentations such as the reports that Sue will review today. And Sue, I am passing over control to you right now, so you can take it away.
Thank you, Jessica, for your nice introduction, and welcome everyone to this webinar. You know, doing a webinar presentation is a challenge, because we have to take care of technical problems. If you cannot hear me or cannot hear me clearly, both you and me waste the time. So if you have any problems, you cannot hear me clearly, please report it to Jessica immediately. My topic is safety management and safety culture in the construction industry. Safety management and safety culture are major indicators of the organizational culture, which directly affect worker safety and health. Because of the importance, tracking construction employers' programs, policies, and practices on safety and health is one of our objectives in our regular surveillance. In our webinar announcement, we only mentioned 3 reports. Actually, my presentation will cover 4 reports on safety management and safety culture in construction, published between 2013 and 2016. 2 of the reports were from Dodge Data and Analytics, formerly known as McGraw-Hill Construction, and 2 were from our most recent quarterly data reports. We started to publish the data report quarterly since 2015. These reports cover a lot of broad issues related to construction safety and health. If you are interested, please visit our website regularly. We will continue to post our findings on our website. All these 4 reports are available on CPWR website. It's a free download. You might ask me why I wanted to talk about smart market reports from Dodge. Let me tell you some background of this study. In 2012, CPWR joined then McGraw-Hill Construction in conducting a survey on construction management, safety management. So why we worked with Dodge? Because Dodge is a large construction data provider. And also, they have access to construction contractors or employers. The 2012 data was collected from the Dodge member contractor panel, which includes more than 3,000 construction employers or contractors. The survey findings from the 2012 were published as a Smart Market report in the early 2013. The main contents include types of safety practices, impact on safety practices, communication and education related to safety and health, and technology and safety management, building processes, and safety management. From the 56-page report, one message I grasped is that construction employers reported positive business outcomes from safety programs in all these major measures. They have increased project ROI, decrease in project schedule, project budget, and decrease in reportable injuries. While we know the schedule, budget, and ROI are very important for a business, our key interest or concern is reportable injuries. About 71% of respondents reported safety programs reduced work-related injuries, while only a small portion of them reported negative impact. The findings also show firm size is directly related to the level of adoption of safety policies and programs. Compared to large firms and small firms, you can see the patterns are so clear. The small firms lag behind or far behind large firms in all the three major measures. About 90% of large firms reported they had fully exclusive or widely observed safety policies or programs, but only 48% or less than half of the small firms reported such policies or programs. Following this 2012 survey, another survey conducted in 2015. In addition to the previous contents included in the 2012 survey, 33 indicators of a safety culture were added to the 2015 survey, which measured management commitment to safety and health, worker involvement in job site safety, company communications on safety, the degree to which safety is treated as a fundamental company value. These findings were reported as a Dodge Smart Market report released in April 2016. The findings from this survey were very encouraging because all these major measures used in the report show the higher number of respondents experience benefits from safety investments. Compare this, it is very clear the patterns increase. At the same time, in this report, the Dodge compared the positive impact of safety on contractor success factors between the high use of safety culture indicators and the low use of safety culture indicators. High use means employers adopt more than 20 these kind of indicators, Low use means they used only 11 or less these culture indicators. So in brief, the more safety culture indicators adopted by employers, the more benefit employers receive. The 2016 report also showed smaller employers still lag behind their larger counterparts. The Doty report only breaks down the firm size by fewer than 100 employees, 100 to 499, and 500 or more. But you may know that construction industry is predominantly composed by the small firms. According to this, I copied some data from the economic census conducted by U.S. Census Bureau. The numbers showed more than 80% of construction establishments are so small with fewer than 10 employees. Because we wanted to know what happened to the small employers, we are unable to find the detailed information from existing Doty reports. This has driven us to do further analysis on small firms or small employers. I have the difficulty to click this. So in our second quarterly data report, we compared the small firms and the large firms in management commitment, safety policies, personnel, protective equipment use, prevention through design, and safety and health communication, safety and health training. If you haven't seen this report, I don't think I need to repeat all of this, but I just wanted to highlight some major findings. In terms of management commitment to safety and health, the huge difference between small firms and large firms. For the safety health expectations are clearly defined. Only 45% of small employers did that. And for the safety and health is a top agenda item in all meetings. Only 24% of small employers did that. Management participants, safety and health data are used for improvement, and the PDD, all of these measures are behind large companies or firms. Similar safety policies will also develop some specific safety and health plan or have measurable safety goals and objectives, or establish specific training programs for supervisors, job center workers, and subcontractors, and all others. All the percentages were much lower among the small firms. Personal protective equipment. There's on the average 70%, but for the smallest firms, only 55%. Prevent through design to promote safety by science. By the more detailed category, you can see this size directly affect this use. The PTD, you know, the PTD is a national research priority. Yes, so the huge difference between the larger and the small establishment or the firms. In terms of the OSHA training, either OSHA 10-hour or OSHA 30-hour training for both small employers did much less than the larger employers. So this is very straightforward, the patterns. Because of the huge difference, we'd like to know this, all the three reports were from employers or management perspective. We want to know what workers think about workplace safety and health. It's just that I think that's a good timing. At that time, I found the new questions from the 2015 National Health Interview Survey could answer the questions that we want to know, or from the perception of construction workers about the worker safety, the workplace safety and health perception of construction workers. For those who may not be very familiar with the national data, the National Health Interview Survey is a large survey and focus on the health of the U.S. peoples. For select years like 2010 and 2015, NISH added more questions related to workplace safety and health to these surveys. The report we used only 2015 survey, supplemental survey. Because the data collected information, in addition to the workplace safety, they also asked some questions on job security and other concerns. We are able to compare industry difference among industries, occupations, establishments, and the type of employment, like the temporary workers or self-employed, etc., and demographics, for example, the difference among the race, ethnicity, or men and women, etc. See what we found. First, we'd like to say what is the difference between construction and all industries in terms of the characteristics of workers. This small table tells you construction workers are more likely to be male, Hispanic, foreign-born, and many of them worked for a very small firms. When the respondents were asked, which of the following best describes your work arrangement, you can see the difference between construction and all industries. Construction workers are more likely to be independent contractors or consultants or paid by temporary agencies or work for a contractor who provides workers and services to others. When the workers were asked, do you think your workplace was very safe, not safe, very unsafe, and don't know? These are the questions from the workers. About 47% of construction reported their workplace was very safe. This percentage is lower than most major industries except agriculture. When we compare these answers between construction workers in their occupations, I don't think these findings surprise you. We can say these office workers or those who did administrative supporting jobs, they feel much safer than those who work on transportation and material moving. Breaking down by the firm size, these findings kind of surprised me. I don't know you have read this report or noticed this difference between the larger and the small firms. This looks like contradictory to the previous findings. Why workers who worked in a large companies reported or less likely to report their workplace was very safe? What's the reasonable explanation? It could be workers in a large establishments or companies got better training. They are more likely to be aware the job site hazards, or just because the large companies are more likely to take more dangerous projects. If you have the better answer than me, now please let me know. We can discuss later. When workers were asked if health promotion programs were available at work or not, this is a yes/no question. Still, construction looks like it's behind the many other industries. Still, agriculture is the last one. Compared the health promotion programs among different sizes of firms, it's not a surprise to me. Small firms are less likely to provide health promotion programs to their workers. There are many reasons. One of the reasons could be small employers are less likely to have enough resource to do such a promotion, or they may think that's unnecessary to provide such promotion programs to their workers. Well, we cannot find this from this survey data. You may know that more than me. When workers were asked, employee health or safety is a higher priority with management or not, it's like disagree, agree, or strong disagree, and we combine agree and strong agree together. That's shown like this. It looks like construction is very similar as the average in all industries, but I'd like to say this here because construction is a very dangerous job. This number at least tells us about 40% of employers still don't think employee health safety is a high priority with management. That can be a problem. When the workers were asked whether they have support from a supervisor when needed by work arrangements, by the work arrangement, we can tell that those who are from temporary agencies, who work for temporary agencies, are less likely to get support from their supervisors when they need it. Even the overall numbers looks still maybe higher than I expected. When workers asked whether they worried about losing job, looks like the independent contractors are more likely to worry about losing a job. That may be true. When worried about losing job, it's stratified by demographic characteristics in construction. You can tell that Hispanic workers, foreign-born workers, and the male workers worried more than their counterparts. This question is all the information is usually we are not able to get from the regular surveys. The workers were asked whether they experienced threatened, bullied, or harassed while on the job. Breaking by look at this difference although the percentage only that's not that low, maybe lower than I expected, is less than 3%, but still we can see the disparities among gender or ethnicity and foreign-born and non-foreign-born. The women workers and Black or non-Hispanic workers and those who are foreign-born are more likely to experience the threat and bullied or harassed while on the job. This number looks kind of small because some of our data users sent an email to me, and they told me, based on their own survey, they found about 71% of women workers who are apprentices experienced such as bullied, threatened, harassed on the job. They asked me whether I can break it down, like they compare the apprentice with the regular workers. Unfortunately, I'm unable to do that because that detailed information is not available from this survey. That is the limitation when we use the national survey data. After we review all those slides, we can get the conclusion. Construction contractors are experiencing positive business outcomes from safety programs. And this looks like it even get better. Compared to the 2012 survey, the 2015 survey shows a higher number of respondents experiencing benefits from safety investments. Small construction firms still lag behind the larger ones in most of the safety management and safety culture measures. And based on the survey reported, less than half of construction workers thought their workplace was very safe, the lowest among all industries except agriculture. About 24% of construction workers reported their employers provide health promotion programs at work, the second lowest among all industries. From these findings, we may see some gaps between management and employee perceptions. We have these concerns. Some employers may not be doing as well as they think they are in terms of the positive safety culture or safety climate. So we think that it is very important for management to monitor safety and health perceptions regularly across their company as part of their written safety and health programs regularly. And we all know that construction remains more dangerous than most major industry, not only from the report we found from workers and also from the national injury and illness data like BLS data. Therefore, continuous efforts are needed to improve safety climates and mitigate negative safety and health outcomes. That's what I'd like to share with you. And in the following time, we can have a good discussion, or if you have a question, I would be very happy to answer you. Thanks.
All right, we do have a couple questions. One from early on is, what does it mean when you say positive influence versus negative influence of a safety program?
What is the positive and versus the negative? So the numbers show is most of the respondents who participated in the survey reported if they adopt safety programs, they reported a positive impact. Only a small portion of those respondents reported the negative impacts. I'm not sure if my I answered that question or not.
So you don't have any more detail
Well,
as
this
far
is
as
a matter
exactly.
of, yes, I did have some more detail, but the more detail, I just want to summarize the main findings from the 4 reports. I may not have a detailed time, enough time to go over the detail, but if you want to know the more detail, please visit the CPWR website and look at or read that detailed report. You may be able to find the more detailed measures from those reports.
Okay. Yeah. Do they explain in the report why, when they said that it had a negative influence, what exactly the negative influence was and what that means to them?
Well, in the negative or positive of the first, those are the report from the Dodge data analytics. So, and actually I reviewed their research method very carefully. I thought they did that estimate very generally or roughly. So they combined the measures together, like a 50% reduction in, for example, in their injury and illness, or 30%, or even a little bit increase. So they combine a lot of the detail together. Just report higher, lower, or the median. So I don't think that the details is even not available from their report, but just in my memory, that's what I can tell you. That's just based on some percentage. Even the percentage is a very rough estimate. Like, let me give you an example. Like the percentage, 1 to 25%. And 26 to 50%, 51 to 75%, and etc. So if I ask this in terms of the schedule, so and I remember that the schedule like the reduced more than 1 week for some firms. But if the 20%, 25, 27, that's still a big range. Not in detail particular days or weeks. So this is rough estimates.
Yes. Okay. And the next question then is, how do you get the smaller companies to get a better safety program? And I know that your area of expertise is the data, but again, do you recall in any of the reports if there is a discussion about incentivizing smaller companies to participate with better safety programs? Oh,
and actually we have done a lot of studies on small employers in terms of safety and health, and so the different measures like the injury and the illness. We have the publications either in the data reports or in the peer-reviewed journal papers. So in all our reports or papers, we talk in our discussion section, we always talk about these issues. So we know that some difficulties small employers could experience. And in our discussion sections, we encourage employers, not we encourage, I think the OSHA and NIOSH encourage them to go to find the available support. For example, OSHA has such a website for the small employers, which include a lot of safety and health information and maybe some safety tools that I think that's free, and that will be very helpful for the small employers if they have a limited resource and they still want to do a safety and health job. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's to my understanding that, yeah, that's what they could do.
And along those same lines, I know that OSHA is also launching they recently launched a campaign to get out there their recommended practices for safety and health programs. And they announced the general industry recommendations, and the construction ones may have also been announced. I did not.
Yeah, so I did visit some like a national and the OSHA website. And the first, I tell you, and even we track this safety and health performance, and also track the employer's performance. In terms of the intervention, that's I think the intervention experts may have the better answers than me. But to my understanding, some kind of this information is available on websites, including CPWR website like some toolbox or something like that. So that's what I can tell you.
Yes, and I just, in the chat box to everyone, I just put in the OSHA website for the general industry safety and health program guidelines. I'm not sure if they also have a website for construction, but at least this is a start.
So if there's you have such an interest, you are interested, now please contact me. Let me see if I can get more detailed information on focusing on construction in particular, and just contact me. I may send you the linkage if I am able to get that.
Okay, yeah, and Ted Scharf just commented that the construction recommendations have not yet been released, so stay tuned for that, I guess. And then the other thing that I want to mention, we did get a comment from someone else who pointed out that bigger companies need to obligate the smaller companies to have a program financially incentivize them. And in addition to that, we just had a webinar last month that focused on one of the programs that Linda Goldenhar is working on here, which is the SCAT, which that webinar is available on our site, and that might be a good tool for companies to sort of evaluate where they are with their safety and health program and their safety culture and take the next steps, and that's applicable to all size companies. And in addition to that, Linda also has been working on our Foundations for Safety Leadership course, which was or will be approved as of January to be part of the OSHA 30-hour training, and that there was a webinar on that previously, which is also available on CPWR.com, and that's a really great training program that you can select various modules from and use it to improve safety culture by empowering workers to be able to speak up and take leadership roles. So we do have a lot of resources coming out as we speak to sort of improve safety culture and safety and health programs across companies of all sizes. And I believe, are there any other questions? I'm seeing some comments, but any other questions for Sue? All right, I think that's it. Sue, thank you very much. And if anyone does have questions after we are finished, feel free to email me, and I will make sure I pass them on and get back to you. And I will be sending out an email to everyone with a PDF of the slides and a link to these reports and some more information. So thank you for joining. And thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you everyone who participated in this webinar. I did say that some comments like the questions has been answered verbally, but I tell you, many things I may not have answered at all. Tell you the truth.
Don't worry, I asked all of the questions that were relevant to the presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Jessica?